This is a gentle vlog. Hi friends, my name is Elizabeth Coyle. In this vlog series, I have been working on the second draft of my 6th novel. It is a young adult fantasy. I finished the connective tissue between scenes 12 and 13, but I was dragging. I was having a hard time. I was almost shutting down. I was getting really quite to the end of my limits, right up to the edge of burnout. And then, because I recognized the feeling of burnout coming on, which is something I did not used to recognize, rather than forcing myself to just push through that feeling, I stopped writing or even thinking about writing for like 2.5 weeks. I just ceased, and I let myself recuperate. It used to be like if I would take a break from writing, I would spend the entire break feeling guilty about taking a break from writing, and then I would not recover at all. I would just stretch my burnout longer than it needed to be. There would be no healing. But so for these last 2.5 weeks, I have not thought about writing. I have not looked at my writing. I've just been letting myself rest from writing. Just taking a break without the guilt. The guilt really exhausts me. So like if I'm taking a break and all I'm doing is feeling guilty about not writing, I'm really not taking a break. Like my mind isn't resting at all. So that was like 2.5 weeks ago. I'm feeling much better now. I've been focusing on other things that I enjoy, and I've been trying to like get up throughout the day and do stretches when I get really tired, because it kind of just helps keep my blood flowing, and it has been helping me not feel tired just like 100% of the time. So I'm now ready to get back into the story. I'm going to ease my way back into it. I don't know, how it's going to go, but I'm going to try. So the first thing I'm going to do is just open up the document, go back to scene 13, because I was ready to begin scene 13 when I stopped last time. And I need to like reorient myself with the story and like figure out what all the characters are doing, like what everybody's different motivations are going into the scene. And I'm kind of looking forward to it because scene 13 is the last of the scenes that I had brought over to my draft 2 document when I created the draft 2 document. So like all the other scenes are still in the draft 1 document, and once I finish scene 13, I'll be ready to bring over new scenes, which will be good, except I think that was also overwhelming me, and I think that was part of what was making me feel so overwhelmed before, because when I counted the scenes of Act 2 in Draft 1, like the potential next scenes that I'll be moving over into this new document, there was like 25 scenes in Act 2, and like 20 of them were just terrible, like scenes that probably don't even belong in the story anymore. And that was overwhelming, and I just was overwhelmed. So I'm not going into this thinking like I'm going to start doing a scene a day or something crazy like that. I'm just going to, just slowly ease my mind back into being able to write and focus on writing. Because for me at least, I have found, at least recently, the key to, preventing a prolonged period of burnout is first to be able to recognize when a burnout is starting, which is a skill that I did not have for the vast majority of my life. I would just, work myself right past exhaustion to a point of like no recovery. So you gotta be able to recognize it, and then you have to be able to take a break with no guilt involved. As soon as the guilt comes in, then you're really not taking a break at all. It's just a different form of stress, and the burnout cannot heal. So I have been away from my writing for like 2.5 weeks, not stressing, just having a good time, doing other things. And now I feel recovered, at least enough to begin trying again. So that's what I'm going to do in this vlog. Hopefully, I am fully recovered and it is easier to get back into the story, but we shall see. We're going slow. So I've been reading through the scene, mostly like the end of scene 12 into scene 13, just to see like, where I am. And the only problem I'm currently seeing, it's not really a problem, it's that scene 13 sort of feels like it needs to be 2 scenes. like one happening now and one happening slightly in the future. But I think rather than getting stuck on that, I'm just gonna write it now as if it's just one scene all happening right now, and then in some future draft I can split it and move half of it to the future if that still feels right. Because I don't want to get just, bogged down by every little thing. So even though possibly the scene should be split in two, for now I'm just gonna have it be one, and just move on forward, because that's what I'm trying to do. So. It is now 2 days later. Yesterday I did not end up writing at all. It was one of those days where I was just exhausted, just like bone tired. I don't know what causes those days, but it was rough. And then, because I wasn't writing, the guilt set in, and the guilt is really what gets you, because when you get down into that spiral of guilt about not writing, I mean, you just burn yourself out so fast. So that was not great, because I'm supposed to be on this path to recovery. So, but I did decide yesterday what I think part of my problem is. I'm feeling a lot of resistance about returning to scene 13 because I don't really know how to end scene 13, because I don't even know what scene 14 is. So what I'm going to do today is hopefully go back to my draft 1 document and pull the next few scenes and put them in my draft 2 document. I mean, they could all be like terrible bad scenes that don't even belong in the story anymore, or like they could belong in a different part of the story. I don't know, I'm feeling very intimidated about Act 2, but I think in order for me to even finish working on scene 13, I needed to know what originally came next in draft 1. So I'm going to pull the next few scenes, put them into the draft 2 document, and then just kind of see how I feel, because maybe I'll be overwhelmed and I won't know how to continue the story with the scenes that currently exist, or maybe the scenes won't be too bad and I'll be able to just, keep chugging along and, fleshing them out and connecting them. I don't know, when I was counting the scenes, so many of them felt terrible and like they don't belong anymore, but maybe I was just in a particularly negative headspace then. I don't know. But we'll see. Hopefully today is productive, because yesterday I did not write at all. Alright, so good news. I have been working on this today. I pulled the next 2 scenes from draft 1 into my draft 2 document. One of them no longer applies to the story, so I cut it. And then I also decided to split scene 13 into 2 scenes, so it will be scenes 13 and 14 now. The part that is scene 13, though, is done and finished, which is good. So now scene 14 is actually the second half of scene 13, but it's going to be its own scene now. And that's what I'm working on. I gotta connect scene 13 with the new scene 14. But we're still making progress. Perhaps it's a little bit slow, but still, we are chugging along. I also counted, I'm currently about 25,000 words in to draft 2. And in draft 1, I did a bunch of math, and the draft 1 is approximately 70,000 words. So with my connective tissue and with fleshing out the scenes and with, new scenes and whatever needs to happen in Act 3 when everything really goes wrong, the story should end up being about 90,000 words, which is where I wanted it to be. So all in all, not bad yet. So I'm feeling okay. I'm still moving slow, but that's the whole point of, getting back into it. It's just going slow. Technically, scene 13 is done, and now I just, connect it to scene 14 and continue on that way, as I've been doing. I've also been making a lot of notes in the margin as I go for like future layers that the book will need, that I'm not trying to add now and like just overwhelm myself in this draft, because like each layer that the book needs, the way that I write is I'll write a whole new draft, and in that draft I will focus specifically on whatever layer it is that I'm adding, and I just have to keep reminding myself of that without getting overwhelmed at the amount of work that this book needs. But I mean, it's going okay. I feel good about writing again and like being back in the story, and I don't know if I just like tricked myself into thinking that I would be okay writing a new story after my last story was rejected, everywhere. Like, maybe that crushed me more than I thought, because I've queried 5 novels unsuccessfully, but it has never slowed down my next novel so much as this. You know, usually the next novel that I write, once I finish querying one and I move on to the next novel, I don't struggle this much with like my fear of like maybe I'm actually a bad writer and this is never going to happen. And that is what has been getting me with this novel. So I don't know if it's the novel, I don't know if it's me, I don't know if it's a decade of rejection catching up with me, I don't know. But this novel is definitely going slower than any novel I've ever written. And it feels like a multitude of reasons. Like maybe the story is complicated, or like happy and fun, and I like don't trust myself to write happy and fun, or maybe I'm just second guessing everything I'm doing because everything I've written has always been rejected, and I just feel like, you know, it must be bad too. I don't know, I'm going slow. I'm not feeling as bad as I have been feeling because I'm actually working on it again, but yeah. Yeah, I guess progress is progress. So, scene 13's done. Scene 14's next. We're plugging along.